We've had customers that have come to us with antennas that may have not been performing they had expected them to. We try to understand their challenges, what they were facing. From there, we put a design for them based off of how to meet their needs in terms of the frequency range and the bandwidth requirements and VSWR, power handling, all these things. Put that design to paper, allow them to test it out, prove it out in their chamber. What we produced was ultimately a higher performing antenna than what they were existing using. Everything we do in terms of antenna design comes down to wavelengths or multiple of wavelengths. And so we calculate those wavelengths based off of the speed of light and the frequency at which you're operating at. So it's one of the first calculations that I make. It helps to know how much space you have available based on what frequency you're operating at. Bandwidth is simple. So that's just the delta, if you will, between your highest operating frequency and your lowest operating frequencies, and megahertz or kilohertz or gigahertz, however you want to parse it out. And then we have things like polarization, for example. Typically, we do a lot of linear polarized antennas, vertical or horizontally oriented. Another important parameter is power handling. These are things that we have to keep in mind as we're doing our design in terms of the materials that we're using that serves as the antenna. When we validate the design, we test them to see if it can meet that particular specification. Another big parameter is gain. It's a parameter that describes how well energy is focused in a particular direction. One thing that we'll need to know from a customer is whether or not they want that antenna to be ground plane dependent or independent. Some customers that call in may need just one of something. And then we have the opposite end as well. You're doing business with fleet of vehicles, in which case we'll need hundreds. No job is too large or too small. So there's a business case behind each one. Everything gets vetted. The design specifications come in, they get filed with a particular project. We evaluate that project for feasibility. The decision is made whether or not we're going to move forward it or table it. We are very customer focused. It doesn't matter what we do, talking to them as much as we can and understanding as much as we can about the end application. We're very closely involved with the customer throughout the process. That's something we can hang our hats on.